What's up, everybody? My name's Trevor. This is my first ever YouTube video on the channel. And today we're going to be doing a 2025 NFL mock draft. I'm going to be going over kind of what I'm expecting each team to do rather than what I would do if I was each team's uh, general manager. And I also just kind of want to dive into my philosophy as a general manager, even though I'm not one, but what I would do if I was building a team. And this is kind of going to be a theme throughout the whole draft or mock draft. But I really think for teams, the old philosophy that even I used to think was that you should build your team out. And then once you have the whole team built, then you draft your quarterback, insert him, and it's time to go. But what I'm realizing is the problem with that philosophy is if that quarterback doesn't work, you're going to have to blow it up and your team's going to be like average. And also, if you have the whole team built except for the quarterback, it's tough to get in a position to get an elite quarterback. So my new philosophy is if you are drafting at the top of the draft, you should take a swing at an elite quarterback. If he hits, and hopefully he's like a Jaden Daniels, where he's a franchise changer, or a CJ Stroud, where maybe it doesn't look like he built the team out around him great, but he kind of elevates everybody. And you just keep taking swings because if it doesn't hit, then you're probably right back at the bottom of the draft again, taking another swing. And you keep swinging. Once you get that franchise quarterback, trade all your draft picks, trade all your young players, whatever. Do whatever you can, build a team around that quarterback. And you'll know within a year, most likely, if that quarterback's going to be elite. You have the Josh Allens every once in a while, but you want to have a chance at an elite quarterback. So when you're at the top of the draft, take a swing. All right, let's start. First overall pick, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think Trevor Lawrence is still the guy. Even though I just went on spiel about taking quarterbacks, this is not the time. We're going to take the best player in this draft class, Travis Hunter. He played both ways in college, of course, which is very rare. I think he's probably a better corner than receiver. If I was the Jacksonville Jaguars, I'd probably have him start at corner, be a rotational receiver. But if I'm Travis Hunter, I know the money is on offense, so I'd rather play full time wide receiver than corner. But whichever one he chooses to do, I still think he'll probably be the first overall pick, assuming it's a team that doesn't need a quarterback. All right, second overall pick, the New York Giants. You're going to have to keep my boy Malik Neighbors happy. And I think the best way to do that is to get a quarterback that can give him the ball. It's only, I think, 22, 23 million if they cut Daniel Jones out of the season or in dead cap. So I think the best case or best decision here is to take a quarterback. And my favorite quarterback in this draft is Shedeur Sanders. Ton of experience, accurate, doesn't have the highest upside, I think, but he also is very experienced. And I think he can come in day one and get the ball to Malik Neighbors, which is what you want here if you're the Giants. Dable, I don't know if he's going to be back next season, but whoever the coach is, you need a quarterback and you got to take a chance and to at least be competitive. And Shedeur is a guy that should elevate the team, I will say. A few question marks about his leadership, but I think it's gotten better. So, all right. Third overall pick with the Tennessee Titans. This is in my motto right here, or my theme for this video is if you're at the top of the draft and you have a chance, even if the quarterback is not the perfect Caleb Williams prospect, you have to take a shot. And I think for the Tennessee Titans, the best shot is Cam Ward. He has the potential to be a top 8 quarterback in the NFL. He reminds me a little bit of Patrick Mahomes without the arm talent in college. I think that could be just because of the lack of footwork and putting up like 80 points in a game, which he did it in Incarnate Ward a few times. Washington State, I don't think he ever did it, but I know in Incarnate Ward he put up like 80 against Sac State. But I think he's not a blue chip prospect by any means, but definitely has the potential to be, top 10 quarterback in the NFL if he hits his ceiling. And I think you got to take your chances if you're the Tennessee Titans. Why build a team around Will Levis? If something happens in free agency where you draft or where you can get like a Sam Darnold, then obviously they're not going to take Cam Ward. But as of now, taking Cam Ward. Now we have the Browns, where I think their dead cap is way more if they cut Deshaun Watson. So it's not the exact same situation as with the Titans. But when I'm looking at the Browns, I still think they should maybe take a quarterback, but they are pretty certain that they're staying with Deshaun Watson. So we're not going to take a quarterback here. We're going to protect Deshaun Watson, who can't really handle pressure. So hopefully we just put him in a situation where he doesn't get pressure. And we're going to take Kelvin Banks Jr. kind of a raw-ish prospect for a tackle. More of like a really athletic guy compared to like Will Campbell, who might be a little bit more polished, but shorter arms and could maybe kick into guard. But we're gonna take Kelvin Banks here, get a tackle for Deshaun Watson. You could also go receiver here, but you have I mean, you could have taken T Mac, but you have Cedric Tillman and Jerry Jeudy, which isn't great. But I would rather it's easier to get a starting receiver in the second round than a starting tackle in the second round. I'll say that. And if you can get a guy who's franchise tackle, take a swing. Kind of like quarterback, not as much, but if you can make a play on in the draft and get a tackle that is a franchise changing tackle or protects your franchise changing guy in Deshaun Watson, who I don't really think is, but take a quarterback or take a tackle and move on. All right. Now we got the Raiders. Back to the whole philosophy, right? Aiden O'Connell, Gardner Minshew, you're not being competitive with them. You got to take a quarterback, take a swing. The next quarterback who I think is in that top tier is Jalen Milroe. Another guy who's not polished at all, but an extreme athlete, will probably run a 4.3 at the combine, and I think will shoot up draft boards, even though it shouldn't really matter that much. But yeah, I mean, if you could really build him, which I don't really trust the Raiders to do, into like an elite quarterback, the potential is for sure there. All right. Next up, we have the New England Patriots. And for them, I feel like it really just makes too much sense. I think their defense is solid. It says they need like an edge, defense tackle, wide receiver, or not wide receiver, safety. Screw that. We're getting Ted McMillan. He reminds me a ton. He's like 6'5, 220 at Arizona. I think he's leading college football right now in receiving yards. But he reminds me a little bit of Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes, the way him and Noah Fafita are just seem like they're always on the same page. And his route's kind of just like he's a big slot, just runs to space. And it reminds me a lot of Travis Kelce, obviously a lot lighter. But as far as just being able to be a big slot and just always seeming to know where to go on the field, he's that guy. And you could also line him up out wide like a DeAndre Hopkins. And that also he can do at an elite level and catch jump balls. So I think he is a great option for an effort. He's down there somewhere, quarterback like Drake May. And I'm expecting it to be the next Tom Brady, Randy Moss combination in New England. All right, let's see. All right, did not mean to click on that. Let's scroll down a little bit. See the Saints. Okay, here we go. All right. So now with the Saints, I think they have a lot of problems on both sides of the ball. So why not just take probably the best player on the board right now that's not a running back and take Will Johnson? They just traded Marshawn Lattimore. Their other corners, I think it's Patrick Taylor, is pretty trash. No offense if you're watching this, Patrick. But they I think Will Johnson's probably the best player left, and they need a corner. So simple pick right there. All right, now we're on to the Jets. And you really want to extend Aaron Rodgers' window as long as possible. And I think the best way to do that, of course, you already have all the weapons around him, is really build the offensive line. I do also like the idea of going defense here, but I think the best thing to do is just protect Aaron Rodgers. Your team is just your season's over if Aaron Rodgers gets hurt. So do whatever you can to protect him. We'll take Will Campbell. Now at pick number 9, this is where it gets interesting. We have the Carolina Panthers, who I would take a quarterback, I think. Definitely is possible. However, my top 3 quarterbacks are already off the board, so I don't think they'll take a quarterback here. And do you really, trading Deontay Johnson, are you going to go into next season with your top 2 receivers being Leggett and Jalen Coker? Probably not. You could take one later in the draft, but I don't know. It is tough. You could also go defense here. Let's see. I mean, it is tough. You got Derek Brown on defense and J.C. Horn, who I don't even know if he's still good, but I think what I'll do here is, I don't know. I don't really like the way Luther Burden's been playing this season, but maybe the Panthers take him. I do think he's probably still the number 2 corner or number 2 wide receiver in the class. I would like to like trade down here actually, but we're just gonna leave everybody with the picks that they are, and we'll take a Luther Burden. Just try to help Bryce Young out a little bit. All right, now we have the Dolphins at pick 10, and with the Dolphins, I think you already have your quarterback and probably your receivers for the future. Christian Wilkins got traded, so I think what I want to do here is let's see, defensive tackle. Where's the Ole Miss one? Let's see, how old is this? I thought that okay, Walter Nolan. This dude is having a monster season. Let's see. And I'm hearing Walter Nolan might be the best defensive tackle in his class. And I think him with Chop Robinson, obviously, I don't think Chop Robinson has done much this season. But if you can get a defensive tackle like a Walter Nolan that can be the next Chris Jones, what I'm hearing, yeah, I feel like you got to take a chance on him. Now we got the Cowboys at 11. And with the Cowboys, I might go back to what I did last year in a lot of the mock drafts, which is take a Texas receiver. And they need a receiver and a running back. Everybody's mocking Ashton Jeanty. I don't know if he goes there just because it's 11th overall pick. It's not really the Cowboys' MO. I do think we'll go receiver. Now is it Egbuka or is it Isaiah Bond? And I think we probably go Bond here. Just I think the speed is something that Jerry Jones would probably like because he reminds me of like my 13-year-old self in fantasy drafts in Madden. And I would definitely take Isaiah Bond if I was a 13-year-old in fantasy drafts. And if my 13-year-old self would take Isaiah Bond, then Jerry Jones probably would too. So we'll have the Cowboys reach on Isaiah Bond at 11. I do think, I mean, maybe they go like corner or something, but as of now, I think that's a little high for Isaiah Bond, to be honest. I don't think he's that good enough to be the 11th overall pick. But we're just gonna rock with it. I think maybe they go receiver over running back. All right. Number 12, we got the Colts. And the Colts, I mean, Anthony Richardson is I think you stick with Anthony Richardson for this season. And then going into next year, you definitely don't want to take a tight end here. But I do think if you can get some help on defense, look what we got here. This is where I could see Mason Graham going off the board, possibly Abdul Carter or Malachi Starks. I think they just took Latu last year. Let's go Starks. Yeah, let's go Starks and add to the secondary. I always like taking safeties in these because I mean I feel like every safety that's drafted high, like well, Brian Branch wasn't drafted that high, but he's a monster. Kyle Hamilton. It's kind of like running backs, and they just don't get drafted as high as they should when they can still be like huge impact players. And then with the Bengals, sorry, Chase Brown, Ashton Jeanty's coming to the Bengals. Actually, let me see if there's another team that I think might want him more, actually. Yeah, we're taking Ashton Jeanty here. I don't think he's going to fall that far. I think 13 is about like the back end of where he could go. Probably the Cowboys do end up taking him realistically, but I just don't want to do what everybody else is doing. So next up, we got the Bucks at 14. This is a team that I think could go wide receiver, especially if Chris Godwin leaves in free agency. But I don't know if he will. You still got Vita Vea. I think, ooh, if they could go edge rusher, I wouldn't be surprised if they did. So I do think Abdul Carter here would make a lot of sense, actually. Yeah, let's go Abdul Carter. He's an edge rusher out of Penn State. Kind of just, you know, think of your prototypical like edge rusher, right? Let me see. Let me see what they say actually before I look stupid. 6'3", 250, so a little bit smaller. I guess dense compact frame. Strength, lacks high and proportional length and overall length. Yeah. I mean, from what I've heard, he's still doing solid. So we'll let the Bucks take him. Now we got the Seahawks at 15. Definitely won't go running back. I don't think quarterback, receiver, no. Possibly offensive line. Or let's look. Could they use an edge rusher? Ooh. Did they just draft last year? I'm tripping. I don't know how I forgot that. But this is where I could see like a Michael Williams. I don't think they'll go corner. So I think it's either going to be Michael Williams or Mason Graham. Let's go with Mason Graham. Add to the defensive line of the Seahawks. And I also feel like any team in the NFC West, if you want to beat the 49ers, you have to have a good D line. And Mason Graham is solid and should be a good piece to beating the 49ers. All right, now we got the Bears at 16. I mean, as good as the receiving core has been, like they kind of look, or was supposed to be, they kind of look trash. Like when I watched them on film, TJ Moore's like walking off the field after he got paid. So I have my own personal vendetta against TJ Moore trying to sabotage Caleb Williams' career. But that's for a whole nother video. All right. Bears, I think they might go quarterback here. No, I'm just kidding. But Bears, let's see what it says they need actually. Edge rusher. Don't they have, didn't they just trade for Sweat? Yeah, maybe he got hurt. I don't know. But, or they traded for Sweat last year. But I think Michael Williams probably doesn't drop that much farther. I like the DBs. Yeah, let's go Michael Williams. Just add to the edge rushers for the Bears. Let's see. All right, let's scroll down a little bit. Now we got the Rams at 17. Let's see what they say their needs are. Let me see. All right, so they need a corner, linebacker. I'd agree with that. All right, let's look at corners. I think Benjamin Morrison is falling pretty far right now. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, Benjamin Morrison, I think, is the guy here. I think did he tear his ACL? There's no way this is updated enough. Um, Rapid foot quickness. Yeah, so elite athlete, 6 foot 186, kind of a smaller corner, but I think he might have torn his ACL. I'm not 100% sure, but I know one of the corners, or maybe it's Ravel. But this is so old. Yeah, they don't even know anything about him. That's crazy. But how is he a top 20 player and there's no report? Maybe I should just know, but I don't know a ton about the defenders. But let's see. Now I got the 49ers at 18. Just signed Lenoir. Charvarius Ward, I think is still under contract, but I can't imagine him leaving. Edge rushers, I mean, you got like Leonard Floyd, but I could definitely see an edge rusher coming off the board here. Let's see, is James Pierce Jr. still like? I mean, this is so old, doesn't even matter. I guess I know there's an edge rusher from Texas A&M that people have been mocking pretty high, and I could see the 49ers going edge. I know they're talking about, I don't think there's any tackle worthy of this topic, right? Oh, I have seen Cam Williams, and I think the 49ers could take an offensive lineman, but that's not really Kyle Shanahan's like philosophy. I would rather just have see him take an edge rusher. Let me see. I don't think they'll go defensive tackle. Yeah, no. Let's look at edge rusher. Uh, yeah, we're not gonna go down that far. I think honestly, I don't know a ton about these three. I don't love Teomolo or Tiu Malau. I don't know. But Scorton, there's another Texas A&M pass rusher that I've seen people mocking super high. Shamar Turner, maybe? I don't know. I was thinking about taking him, but I think we'll just go with James. Let's see what Princely, let's look at Princely here. Athletic. Let's see. Let's just look for the most, yeah, hyper elite explosive capacity. That's kind of what I'm looking for. But I think I have heard he's having a good season. So we'll go with Princely out of Ole Miss for the 49ers. I wouldn't be surprised if they took an edge. Now we have the Broncos, who I definitely think wide receiver would be the best option for them. I mean, it's Cortland Sutton and I mean like Devon Vele, right? So I think Egbuka to the Broncos makes sense here. Yeah, Chris Brazzell, the second is insane that he's third, like fifth receiver. That's crazy. Whoa. The receiver drop off on here is insane. Yeah, I mean they got Restrepo pretty low and stuff. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. But we'll go with Buka here to the Broncos. I think getting more weapons for Bo Nix is good. Their defense is obviously really good this year. And I mean they might take a running back, but probably not that pick unless it's Ginty. So now we got the Texans. With the Texans, defensive tackle is a need. I think there's a good defensive tackle left, right? Oh, never mind. Ooh, Deion Walker would be fun to the Texans, but I feel like Deion Walker to the Vikings is like my favorite idea in my head right now. But let's see. All right. So Texans definitely no wide receiver. They need a corner opposite Stingley. Let me see. Oh, Ravel. Yeah, we could go Ravel here. Actually, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go Siobhan Ravel to the Texans. I feel like they could use another corner opposite Stingley. And then yeah, we'll go with the corner to I think he's like just really athletic. Obviously Eastern Carol or East Carolina. Not a huge school, but kind of like the Quinyon Mitchell of this year. It's kind of the idea I'm getting. All right, now we got the Falcons. Scroll down a little bit. Falcons, I think obviously you have two quarterbacks. Corner makes sense. I don't think could they? I don't think wide receiver, especially now with how many wide receivers they've taken already. An edge rusher. This is where I could see Nick or James Pierce Jr. going. We'll send him there. Yeah. I mean, just Falcons definitely could use an edge rusher, and I think James Pierce Jr. is still higher than Nick Scorton as far as like big boards go. Now we have the Cardinals. It says they need a defensive tackle, guard, wide receiver, linebacker, and safety. I could see wide receiver, but again, all the top wide receivers are kind of gone. Let's see. Is there another elite safety, or am I? Yeah, it doesn't look like it. I think Kevin Winston Jr. I've heard good things about that. But let's see. We got okay. Okay. Let's see. Tackle. Ooh. Yeah. I think I'm gonna go Tyler Booker out of Alabama. Yeah, let's go Tyler Booker out of Alabama. All right, now we got the Chargers. Need a corner, defensive tackle, center, edge. Okay, let's go Nick Scorton to the Chargers. I know they got some older guys, right? Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa, but we'll see what Nick Scorton can do there. All right. Next up, we got the Packers. And with the Packers, it says they need defensive tackle, corner. So a lot of corners are needed, but not a lot available. But I do think I would not mind actually taking a corner here. I do like Deion Walker a little bit too much. But we'll go Denzel Burke, I think. Is there another corner I like? Takario Davis. Isn't he like, yeah, 6'4", 194. I do feel like Denzel Burke is definitely Packers style to me. Uh yeah, let's go Denzel Burke to the Packers. I like that pick. I know he got cooked against Oregon, but I think he's been pretty good outside of that game. Now we got Commanders. They're playing right now, and they need another wide receiver. I will tell you that much. Colston Loveland. I don't. Yeah, I think they just got to go receiver. And out of the guys left, I mean, is there really a guy I love here? Restrepo actually could be nice. I could see Restrepo going to the Commanders. Let's see. Yeah, no information on him. That is insane. I need to find a better website. But all right, let's see. All right. So they kind of already have their Z, and we kind of need a outside vertical ball winner. And I do think that it probably comes down to one of these three, actually. Even though Restrepo is not exactly that prototype, a Yomanor. How's he doing? 6'2", 209. I mean, I wish I could see like their season stats on here. That'd be cool. But I mean, Trey Harris is having a monster season, and I've seen him mocked here before. And I think I will end up going with Trey Harris just because of the production so far. I could definitely see him being a nice number two to Terry McLaurin. Now we have the Ravens. Let's see what they want. What do the Ravens need, dog? They're so good. All right. Guard, linebacker, corner, wide receiver, tackle. Um, we could go with, I think, let me see what the guards are looking like. Donovan Jackson. Yeah. No. Wow, that's crazy how big of a drop out there is. I could definitely see him taking a tackle. And I think Emory Jones here, pretty sure he's having a good season. 6'6", 322. Yeah, yeah, I definitely think I could see Emory Jones going to the Ravens and adding to that offensive line. All right, now we got the Steelers who need a corner, defensive tackle, wide receiver. I mean, I'd be surprised if they don't go receiver, right? I mean, Mike Williams can't be the long-term solution at wide receiver too. So let me see. This could be where an Evan Stewart comes into play. Maybe. I could see Evan Stewart sneaking to the back. He's kind of had a down season, but I still think the talent is there. So let's go Evan Stewart to the Steelers. I don't mind that pick. Now we got the Vikings at 28. And with the Vikings, let's see, defense attack. Oh, this is where I know who I want. Deion Walker. I feel like this is, for those of you that don't know, this is a 306'6", 348-pound defensive tackle who they have drop into coverage a lot in college, right? Which is kind of insane. And he's not like a huge like run stuffer. But with all the crazy fronts that the Vikings bring to teams, I would love to see them take Deion Walker at the end of the first round and just love to see him get a few. Like if he gets a pick six, everybody's happy, right? And I think the it would be fun to see what Brian Flores could do with Deion Walker. And so this is more of a fun pick, but we'll see what he could do. Now we have the Eagles who they need an edge, defensive tackle, offensive tackle, wide receiver. I don't think they'll take a wide receiver 3 here. And I definitely don't think they'll take a tackle either. I think their tackles are fine, even if they are a little older. Wide receiver they could definitely use. Let's see, is there a linebacker that I like here? Uh I kind of like I mean, Zach Bond's having a monster season, so I think they're probably fine at inside linebacker too. Corner doing good. I mean, they're across the board having a great season. And I could almost see them needing a wide receiver 3 actually. But I don't know if Restrepo. I actually kind of like that idea. We'll go Restrepo to the Eagles here as a wide receiver 3, just to like fill in. I mean, the Dotson, he's not really the long term solution, and they are so well built that I mean, you could maybe see him taking an edge too. I definitely. Oh, score. What edges are still there? Yeah, I mean, an edge from Georgia, like that's it. Probably could have gone with that one for the Eagles, but let's have some fun and take Restrepo just as a wide receiver 3 slot receiver for them. Now we have the Bills, who still need a wide receiver, but I mean, Shakir, Curtis Samuel, Keon Coleman. It's kind of an ugly group, but no offense to them. Did I already skip what did I give the Chargers? Oh, Nick Scorton. Yeah, I was gonna give him a tight end, but that's fine. All right, the Bills, Kincaid. I mean, I do think this will be the team to get an edge rusher. And if there's an edge rusher to take, it would be probably. I kind of like Takario Davis to the. Let's go Takario Davis. Actually, I like tall corners, but also that's probably just the inner 13-year-old GM Madden in me, but or Madden GM in me. But uh, wow. But all right. So now we got the Lions. But yeah, I think. I mean, yeah, you add a DB to the Bills secondary. I think they probably need help there. But Lions at 31. This is another team that I feel like doesn't really need a ton of help, but getting a guy across from Aiden Hutchinson, they traded for Zadarius Smith, of course, but I don't know if he's really the long-term solution. Let's see what they say about Jalen Walker. Coming soon. All right, that's cool. We'll take Jalen Walker from Georgia. And then with the final pick, the Kansas City Chiefs, who I guess they're expecting to be Super Bowl champions for some reason. I don't know why. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I don't think there's any safety. Wide receiver, I mean, they're still kind of trash a receiver. Worthy's, I'm saying Worthy's a bust. I think it's, hmm. Do they take a tight end? Ooh, you know who I know what I'm gonna pick. Let's see. I do think that Tyler Warren to the Chiefs could be nasty. I mean, Travis Kelsey's kind of like their inline tight end that can also split out to the slot. But you get another guy that you can give shovel passes to that's just an elite weapon on offense that can also block. You take Tyler Warren. And yeah, I mean I think it's a great let me see. They didn't let me finish my point on the Chiefs. I guess they're gone. Can I click on my picks? Okay, here we go. Let's see. All right, yeah, Tyler Warren to the Chiefs. I think that'd be a super fun pick. So this is the recap. We got Travis Hunter, Shador Sanders, Cam Ward, Kelvin Banks, Jalen Milroe, Ted McMillan, Will Johnson, Will Campbell, Luther Burden, Walter Nolan, Isaiah Bond, Malachi Starks, Ashton Jeanty, Abdul Carter, Mason Graham, Michael Williams, Benjamin Morrison, Prince Lee, Emeka Egbuka, Siobhan Ravel, James Pierce Jr., Tyler Booker, Nick Scorton, Denzel Burke, Trey Harris, Emory Jones, Evan Stewart, Deion Walker, Xavier Restrepo, Takara Davis, Jalen Walker, and Tyler Warren. So I think pretty much my main takeaways from this is that there's 3 quarterbacks that I think will go in the first round, and they will probably go pretty high. And then after that, maybe we could see a team trade up into the back half of this first round to get if one of the teams like maybe I don't know, maybe the Panth. I don't think the Yeah, I don't know what team would really want to trade up for a quarterback. Like not that many teams need quarterbacks. Maybe like the Colts could, but really, is there a guy in the back half of the first round that's going to be better than Anthony Richardson? I think the three teams that really should go quarterback and should take these three are Milrow, or not Milrow, are the Giants, the Titans, and the Raiders. And I think everybody else could live without taking a quarterback. I could definitely see Saints taking a quarterback in the second round, but maybe the Panthers too. But yeah, I think for my first mock draft, it's gonna be interesting learning more about like the defensive players. I obviously know a lot more about like the receivers and quarterbacks and Ashton Jeanty. But yeah, I thought it was fun doing my first mock draft, and we'll probably do a lot more, but especially when we get closer to the draft time. But for my first YouTube video, it was fun. Let me know what you guys think, and if you have any other ideas in the comments below.